So it's that time of year again where everyone's breaking all the Christmas decorations and rewatching all their favorite Christmas movies. And I found myself rewatching a favorite Christmas movie of mine, Ron Howard's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Now this movie seems to have a special place in a lot of people's hearts, but as I've been researching it, some people just really don't seem to like this movie. And some call it the worst Christmas movie ever made. Now, whether or not they're right or not, I don't know, but for me, I think it's just a super underrated movie, and I just want to let you all know why. So, as we know, Ron Howard, he's a very accomplished, successful director. He's made a lot of amazing movies with great casting, and he's won a few awards, but I think How the Grinch Stole Christmas is one of his movies that kind of just goes under the radar. Some people don't really like talking about it because, one, I just don't think they like Jim Carrey that much. If you're not a fan of Jim Carrey, I would expect that you didn't like How the Grinch Stole Christmas because he plays the Grinch and he is at the forefront of every scene, doing what he does, and I think, in my opinion, this is Jim Carrey's best role he's ever played. I've seen a lot of Jim Carrey movies, and I think he's pretty funny in a lot of them. For some reason, at least to me, I think he just takes the character of the Grinch and he spins it so well. And he definitely had a lot more room to act and do things his way. A lot of the lines in the movie, a lot of the acting was all improvised. And I just like that Ron Howard gave Jim Carrey just the freedom to express himself as Jim Carrey does. Another great thing I like to point out about this movie, I think the set design was really cool. It's hard work trying to make a movie like How the Grinch Stole Christmas and taking from the book and from the cartoon version and trying to make it all live action, because there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of weird looking things, and making the Who's. I think Ron Howard really nailed it. I think he did as good a job as he could. Some reviewers say that the Who's look straight out of a nightmare. It doesn't follow the book at all. I mean, there's just a lot of hate out there when it comes to How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Now, I'm sure it's probably a very small minority, but who knows, it could be a larger majority than I thought. I just think, from my perspective, to give Ron Howard at least the benefit of the doubt, because he put so much work into this, so much time. Cast and the crew just devoted so much time to making this movie look as beautiful as possible. One person in particular who just went through hell was Jim Carrey. So I don't know if you know this, but the makeup design for Jim Carrey, it took them 8.5 hours just to do that makeup, and it would take him 8.5 hours every single time to do that. And in one interview, Jim Carrey describes it as being buried alive. It was just so much prosthetics, and his suit is made of yak hair. I don't know if you knew that, but he's wearing a spandex suit, and then they got yak fur and they dyed it green, and then they sewed it into his spandex suit, and he's also wearing very painful contact lenses to make his eyes yellow. So he just went through so much to just embody this character and give everybody a magical taste of the Grinch, because I will say outright that I think the animated version from the 60s is a lot better than the live action version. But I don't want to undercut this live action version because I think it's phenomenal. I just laugh at almost every scene in the movie. I've seen it 100 times. But every single time I just forget how funny Jim Carrey is in this. Everyone, not just Jim Carrey, but great acting all around. Sidney Lou is perfect casting. I didn't know this for the longest time, but Clint Howard, who is Ron Howard's brother, actually plays the mayor's assistant. So I thought it was cool that Ron Howard included his brother in this movie. And I also read that Ron Howard's daughter, Bryce Dallas Howard, was in it as well, as a very short appearance. Her casting is just like somebody in the crowd. So I might have to go through How the Grinch Stole Christmas and look at it a little closer to see if I can find Bryce Dallas Howard in there. How the Grinch Stole Christmas is just a classic Christmas movie that really flies under the radar. I would recommend watching How the Grinch Stole Christmas again. Maybe you'll find something in there that you didn't see the last time. I also find it incredibly crazy that it's been 22 years since The Grinch came out. I mean, 22 years just flies by. I was only 5 years old when the movie came out, and I didn't see it until much later in life. But I just think that for some who don't like How the Grinch Stole Christmas as much as others, maybe this movie deserves a second go around, and maybe you'll be surprised with how good it is. I mean, the set, the costumes, the awesome narration by Anthony Hopkins, I mean, you can't get better than that. So for How the Grinch Stole Christmas, I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10 Mudflaps. And before you go, drop in the comments below, which one did you like better, the animated version of The Grinch or the live action adaptation? And as always, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and I'll see you next time.